Okay, sit down, people, and relax. It is Friday, September 30th, 2022. Let's talk here. Getting out of control as usual. Let me set the stage for you here real quick. So we just got some information on the global economic front. And what is it showing? Inflation continues to surge higher. Okay, now, no surprise. You knew this. I knew this. We've been talking about it forever. What central banks have been doing is it's useless, but they're trying to sell this to the people. Oh, yes. Oh, we're going to be raising rates, the overnight rate. Oh, it's going to absolutely do something this time to stop inflation from surging, and it's just not happening. Look, the root cause here of the problem, which nobody is being allowed to know. Nobody. You know it already, probably, what I'm going to tell you. We are in a currency crisis, and it's actually getting worse by the day. What are central banks doing, people? What are they doing? They're in a race to the bottom. They're deliberately killing their currencies. That's the issue here. The purchasing power of currencies is being sucked out by central banks who are on a mission to continue to inflate. But you're not allowed to know any of this, people. You and I are existing today in a full-blown currency crisis. This whole issue that's being fist-fed to you via the mainstream propaganda ministry by brain-dead presidents, I wasn't going to say that, but it's the truth, by corrupt Federal Reserve officials trying to sell you the lie that I've exposed multiple times since the get-go. You and I have discussed right here since day one when we found out that the Federal Reserve was going to be raising the overnight rate. They're going to be raising rates. Central banks are going to raise rates, and it's going to stop inflation. No, you and I knew from that nanosecond it wasn't going to work because it's not an issue regarding what rates are. This is a currency crisis. When are people going to wake up? Please elaborate. Tell me in the comments. Say, Greg, this is when people are going to start to wake up. They're not going to. People have been lulled into some kind of induced, zombified sleep state. They've been put to sleep. And they don't realize what I told you yesterday. They're being bred to consume here. Henceforth, why this global debt bubble keeps expanding here and the population has boomed on the back of it. Consume. Consume. That's it here. And it's going to end so badly, people. If you haven't seen the video I did yesterday, please watch that. So, look. That's the deal. That's what's going on. And I'm calling upon all of you, the Greg Mannarino crew here. This isn't my thing. This is our thing. Start talking about how this issue here of surging global inflation is not what they're making you think it is. It never is, okay? It's a distraction and it's a deception. It's a currency crisis, which is the root cause of the problem we are seeing here. But again, you turn on Bloomberg, Fox Business, CNBC, pick one, and they're all telling you, oh, central banks, oh, they're serious. They're really serious. They're going to keep raising rates. It's going to make a difference this time. It hasn't done a thing. Nothing. When are people going to wake up? When? Tell me when. See, I'm having a meltdown. All right, look. So, on the back of this information that we got this morning, that right here in the United States, core personal expenditures, which is a measure of inflation, came in higher than expected. In the Eurozone, inflation surging out of control. This hit stock futures immediately. Stock trading doesn't start for about 40 minutes from the time I am doing this. 37 minutes, okay. Stock futures were higher across the board. Now, they just went negative on the back of this. Why? Again, look, let's put that together. So the market, being the demented child that it is, stock futures were higher. All of a sudden, it gets this information that inflation is not slowing. We are not peaking. There's no end in sight. And futures reversed because the market says, oh, what's going to happen happen now is central banks, because they're so serious about inflation and controlling it, they're going to keep raising rates. Duh, they're going to do that anyway. But it has nothing to do with controlling inflation. The central banks are raising rates aggressively while we are moving deeper into a full-blown recession, depression, only to destroy the economy. When are people going to wake up? They're not going to. Like I said, they're being lulled into a zombified state of sleep, and they have no clue as to what is happening to them by design. So, on the back of that, let's go look at the 10-year yield. The 10-year yield is 3.70. People, we have fallen 30 basis points in just the last several days. Who's buying the debt? Who is buying an enormous amount of debt here to keep that 10-year yield lower? I'm going to give you one freaking guess. I'm not even going to mention who it is because you know already here, but you're not allowed to know it. You see all the things you're not allowed to know? It's insane. So you got this 30 basis point drop since the recent high in the 10-year yield. You got the dollar this morning, the relative strength of the dollar, that's stronger. The MMRI is coming down. Okay, that's the situation here. Look, it's so sick here. Global inflation. I'm just writing this stuff down here. Cost of living crisis. That's another. Look, we're in. Yes, turn on the mainstream channels. They're going to tell you there's a cost of living crisis, but they're not going to tell you it's because we're in a currency crisis. People, this shit gets to me. Look, I get a knot in my stomach. I really do. Like, I get a knot in my freaking stomach. Because people are just not being told the truth. They're being distracted. They're being lied to on a scale that is incredible. And it just doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. So, on the back of all this stuff that's happening here, you got gold and silver right now catching a bid. Bitcoin still hovering around 19,000. You got crude oil, which was catching a bid, under a little bit of pressure right now. Look, all that is well and good here, but nothing matters anymore. If you notice, look, you already know fundamentals don't matter, forward guidance doesn't matter, PE ratios don't matter. All the things that should matter for a market don't matter anymore because, again, we're in this phenomenon here where central banks have overrun it all, okay? And the market is so fixated on every syllable, every word that comes out of a Federal Reserve President's mouth here. Look, how twisted is it? I mean, tell me again, enlighten Greg Mannarino a little bit. How is it really that private institutions here, central banks are private institutions. They are not part of any government. How is it that these entities are in control of the global financial system and the global economy? And what are they doing? These private entities who have their own best interest in mind. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. All they have is their own best interest in mind. And they're driving the global economy into the ground. I said recently, like a freaking pile driver. They're eliminating an entire class of people, and it's just being allowed to happen. It's being by our loving, caring government officials. Oh yeah, it's them colluding with these private entities to bring about the final solution. The meltdown of the financial system, which is going to, again, change everything, people. I'm not going to cover it again because you know what I'm talking about. It's just, it's so sick to see what's going on. And people have no idea. They don't understand it. They're being told it's the federal funds rate. It's the overnight rate. Central banks, they're going to continue to raise rates, and it's finally going to make a difference. It's not doing a thing. I can't believe how people can sit back here understanding that every single one of these Federal Reserve, FOMC meetings, they've been raising rates for months. And what's inflation doing? It's going higher. Central banks around the world doing the same thing. What's inflation doing? It's going higher. And people are being told that eventually it's going to work, but they're not being told what the root cause is. We're in a currency crisis, people. When do you think people are going to wake up? All right, look, I better stop because I'm going to actually and sincerely blow a gasket. Let me know what you think. Please comment, share the video, get it out there, people. I'll see all of you at the end of the day.